Welcome to ASA Sports Betting. This is the Slip Surgeon, and you are watching Inside the Slip. Welcome back again. Today, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be assisting you guys understand how to go about analyzing your sports betting predictions. Okay? Because you need to actually be able to do the analysis part first. Understand exactly what it is that you're doing before you make any selections whatsoever, so you can make high probable outcomes within your prediction sphere. Okay, so let's get straight into it. I'm also going to be sharing some of the slips that I've played over the past couple of days. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Now, where do we start? We're going to start off with understanding how to go about analyzing. Right, now let's look at the fixtures. Firstly, we're gonna go straight to sports. When you get to your sports, you're gonna look at the leagues, because there's different leagues, right? They categorized by leagues. Okay, this is Takar de Portugal. This is WC qualification CAF. All right, you've got friendly games, you've got Premier Division and Island Space, you've got the Bekoff and Belgium. This is Belgian football. Belgium, Belgian. I'm not sure how you quite pronounce that. Say that, but yeah, that's what that is. Okay, so anyway, I digress. We're gonna dive straight into a single fixture here. You can go ahead and specifically look for teams that you are certain are probably going to give you the outcome that you're looking for. Like, for example, we could go with Turkey versus Spain, right? Now, ultimately, a lot of people are expecting Spain to win. Even the bookies, right, are expecting that Spain is going to win, right? Which is why they're not going to give you very high odds. Okay, remember the last video that I made. I specifically spoke about odds. I said if the odds are low, then that's a good thing. But if the odds are high, then that's not necessarily a good thing, because high risk comes with high odds. Okay, if you see odds being at a very, well, I wouldn't necessarily say a very all-time high. If you just see high odds in J period, just think to yourself that is unlikely to happen. Okay, whatever outcome that is that you're choosing within the sports betting market, it is unlikely to happen if you see high odds. Okay, but if you see low odds, then obviously that means that you should expect that outcome to more or less likely happen. Now, it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed that it will happen. It just basically is trying to tell you that it is probable. Okay, it is likely to happen. Okay, so let's just say we're looking at the Turkey versus Spain. Now, a lot of people are obviously expecting Spain to win. Now, the question is, why are we expecting Spain to win? Why Spain? Why not Turkey? Right? This is where you now have to also do your analysis to find out why is it that people are going for Spain to win on this specific market. Okay, because this is a straight win market. Match result to be a straight win. Okay, and if you look at the draw as well, why is it that it is unlikely that these two teams are going to basically end up in a draw? That's also a question that you need to ask yourself. So there's this button over here. Okay, if you click on this button over here, what happens is it's going to pull up certain statistics, okay, and information, right, about the team's performances and such things, right, over the season, and certain other factors that you need to pay attention to. So, game score. There is no game score yet. Why? Because the game only starts today at 8:45. Okay, 8:45. SAST, SAST, South African Standard Time for us specifically. That's when the match is expected to start. So you go to your head-to-head streaks here to see the percentages. The percentages speak numbers on their own before you even go anywhere. The percentages speak numbers. Okay, win probability. They are betting that 61%, 61% of the people are betting that Spain is going to win the match, and then 18% of the people are betting that Turkey is going to win the match. Okay, these are basically straight wins, and then 21% are basically betting that the two teams are more or less likely going to score. Draw. Okay, because this is actually a draw. Now you also see goals scored. All right, both teams to score, and there's also numbers here and percentages, and then there's over 1.5. Right. These are the different types of markets. Okay, these are the different types of markets. The same markets that you're seeing here, the both teams to score, straight wins, you're over 1.5. These are the same things that you see here. Okay, but this is head-to-head team average. Okay, this more or less tells you that the many times that these teams, or historically the times that these teams have played each other. Okay. They've had a certain number of percentages where they scored over 1.5. Okay, on average, that would be 78% of the time that these two teams play each other. 78% of the times, you find that there's over 1.5 goals, meaning that there is 2 goals or more. Okay. And then there's corners as well here. You can see all of that. There's also cards that have been produced by the games that these two teams have played against each other. And then you're over 2.5 goals, right? Goals scored. All of these stats are there. Everything is there. You just need to then decide, okay, where do you stand? Do you stand with the 61% of the people that are telling you, or rather that are supposedly betting that Spain is going to win, or do you stand between the 18% of the people that are saying Turkey is going to win, or are you in the middle between the 21% of the people who are saying that this is more or less likely going to be a draw? You need to pick and choose where you fall into this whole category. Okay, once you've decided where you fall into the category, then you're going to be able to make an informed decision, not just to jump into a market that you don't understand. Okay, so you have to have the information, understand why 61% of the people are saying Spain is probably going to win, and understand why 18% of the people are saying Turkey is going to win. Understand why 21% of the people are saying these two teams are probably going to draw. You also have the form, right? You can go here, you look at the form. These are stats for the team form. Okay, what has happened over the past couple of games that they have played. Okay, it shows their last matches, it shows overall win, home, and away. Right, same thing. Spain overall win, home, and away. Okay, so the percentages are there. It's not like it's not there. Okay, and then you've got season stats. Okay, you also have season stats. It shows you here season stats, home and away. It shows you the matches played. It shows you the wins, the total goals that have been scored, average goals scored, average goals conceded, both teams to score, all of these things, the yellow cards, total cards over 1.5, all of it, it's there. Okay, it's information that's literally telling you everything that you need to know. Okay, but then you can obviously do a deep dive. Okay, because these are the last matches. Remember that we went to season stats. It showed that total goals that were scored were 3, right? Also, if you came to form, there were overall, home, and away. It shows you also the team's position on the table. Okay, it shows you that Turkey right now is currently sitting at number 2, and Spain is currently sitting at number 1. That on its own shows you everything you need to know about the performance of these teams. Okay, shows you everything you know about the performance of these teams. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the last matches. Now you're also going to see where that win comes from. It was from the 4th of September, right? World Cup qualification, UEFA Group E. Okay, and then you're also going to see on the 11th they took a loss. That was the team that they were playing. That was the team that they were playing on the 4th. That was the team that they were playing on the 7th. Okay, they took a win on the 7th. Okay, these are the goals that were scored. Okay, against these matches. teams, okay, on these matches. Same thing with Spain. Spain has also got its own information over here, but I don't want to focus too much on this. I want to focus a whole lot more on getting into the deep dive of things by switching over to SofaScore. Okay, SofaScore is an app and a website that offers a whole lot more insights and in-depth insights specifically about teams in overall. Okay, so what I normally do is I just do this. I copy this fixture, I pull over to SofaScore. When I get to SofaScore, I just paste the fixture over here. Okay, and then I look for the dates. Usually if it's playing today, then it's going to come and show you that today, okay, Turkey versus Spain, Turkey versus Spain today, World Cup qualifier, UEFA. You click on that. Now you see the same thing that you saw on sports on Betway, right? And it says 20:45. That's the same time that we were saying. At 8:45, we're expecting that the match is going to start. Now here you find the lineups of the players that are going to be playing. Okay, this is the lineup. These are the expected players who are supposedly going to be on the pitch by the time the football starts. Okay, and then you can also see here displayed average ratings. These are average ratings, just by the way. Now the green, I want to simplify it for you in very simple understanding or logic. When you see orange, orange is just an okay team, but once you see green, it means that green, the team is strong. Okay, just to simplify it for you. And then the ratings, you can see 6.68 and then 7.35. These are just average ratings. That's all it is. Okay, and then you can look at the players who's going to be playing. All of it is there. Also, you know who the referee is going to be, Michael Oliver, the managers of both teams, right? Vincenzo Montella, and then you've got Luis de la Fuente. Okay, these are the managers of these teams. The information is there, but irregardless of who's managing the teams, you also need to pay attention to the injuries and the suspensions. Now on this end, we've got this guy Alpar Yilmaz, who has been suspended. On this side, you've got Fabian Ruiz and Pablo Gavi. Now this also takes a very important key factor in making informed decisions about what team is going to win. Because say for example, we have the most important strikers here, your Yamal, right? Your N Williams and who's this, Oya Zabal. Say for example, they were the ones who were suspended, just out of reference sake, just to make an example. You will see their names here, you will see their pictures and everything over here. Now that might change the outcome of this entire game. Okay, why is that? Because you've got three of the most important strikers on that team. Okay, three of the most important strikers, powerful strong players who have been suspended or a red card or whatever the case may be. That can actually change the way or the outcome of the game. Okay, because then that might weaken Spain for some reason. Okay, obvious reasons, of course, like these important key players are not there. Okay, so that might be challenging for whoever else has to replace these guys. That's just an example. I'm making an example here to say that, okay, whoever is suspended, you need to look at these key players. You can also click on the player themselves just to find out what position that they hold, okay, within the team. I'm not sure why it's not allowing me. There we go. Once you click on it, okay, it'll give you everything about the player, right? Pablo Gavi, Barcelona. That's who he plays for right now. Okay, his country, obviously, he's going to be playing for his country team, which is Spain. Okay, it shows you the date he was born, so he's 21. He's a midfielder. Height, right-footed, number 6. All of that information is there. So you know, okay, if Gavi has been removed because he was injured or whatever the case may be, you need to start considering that. Okay, consider all those things. But then if you do not have a powerful replacement for Gavi, then there's obviously going to be an opening, because then you come to find that these other teams that are playing against you see that, okay, Gavi is not here, so we need to strategize and try and attack from this angle, you know, and just try and destabilize the team from this angle, because these certain key players are not there, so we can take it easy. You understand? So it's those things that they strategy. That's what soccer is. Everything is about strategy. You understand? So whoever is not there is going to be a factor at the end of the day. But then you need to look at the replacements. Who's there playing in place of Garvey, for example, or Fabian Ruiz? Are they strong players? You understand? You need to consider all those key factors. Now, moving to statistics. Statistics is also going to show you past performances, okay, of the teams and the matches that they have played thus far. Goals scored, goals per goal, goals conceded, clean sheets, assists, ball possession, and all of that. All of this information is there. You can clearly see that everything is currently favoring Spain, right? Ball possession on average, Spain is literally saying like a 78%, right? That says something about the team, okay? So standings, it also shows you standings on the table, right? The table currently, Spain stands at number 1. Okay, they've got 3 points. Same thing with Turkey. Turkey also has 3 points, but they're sitting at number 2. They've conceded 2 goals and they've scored 3 goals. Spain hasn't conceded any goals whatsoever. They have scored 3 goals. Okay, so all of these things and information, it's there. It's not like it's not there. You need to consider all of these things. Look at the table, the performance of the team, right? And then also you can come here to the head-to-head between Spain and Turkey, the past games that they've played, right? Just click on show more over here to pull up the history, right? You can clearly see Spain won 2016. They won in 09. Spain won in 09 as well. Spain won. These were 2 different matches that were played on different dates. They won 3. That was the last time that they played, right? And then right now we've got the World Cup qualifier, UEFA, and obviously you're now looking at all the results that the last 3 times that these 2 teams played each other, Spain was always the most dominant team here, so it won. Right, 3 times in a row. Well, a very huge gap between the rows, but regardless of the fact, they still won. Okay, and then your Turkey here has kept no clean sheets whatsoever. Wins for Spain was 3. This is the head-to-head streaks now. Okay, head-to-head streaks. So this is how much the odds are on Easy Betway. Okay, the odds are 1.62. Remember that we have different odds on Betway. Betway says 1.50. Okay, so you get slightly higher odds on easy bets if you're going to take the bet via easy bets, but we're not talking about who's who in the zoo at this current point. We're just basically looking at the head-to-head streaks and all the key information that we need. And then you have your streaks over here. With your streaks, what's the streaks about? They're basically breaking down the team's individual performances, okay, over matches or games that they play. Right now, no clean sheets. Turkey has kept no clean sheets. On average, Turkey has been able to score over 2.5 goals. Okay, 5 out of the last 6 matches that they have played. Okay, that's what this means. Okay, and then over 2.5 goals over the last 8 matches that they have played, or last 8 matches or games that they have played. Okay, and then both teams to score was 6 times out of 7 times. Right, first to score 10 out of 10 times. Okay, 10 matches, like this has happened. This is 10 out of 10. This showing you 10 times out of the last 10 matches that this team has played. It doesn't matter who. Now we're just averaging out. Sorry, we're generalizing. Okay, we're generalizing literally all the teams that it has played. This is literally just streaks of individual teams. This is head to head streaks. There's a difference between these two things. Whenever we're talking about head to head streaks, we're talking about two teams versus each other, the performance between the two teams against each other. Okay, and then we have streaks. Streaks is literally just individualizing both teams and looking at the performance on each team individually. It doesn't matter what team they were playing against, but just them individually. Okay, so streaks is also very, very important, because then all of this key information that you see here, it shows you all the information you need in order for you to be able to make an informed decision. So now you know that this is how Turkey performs, this is how Spain performs. So what am I gonna go for? Right now we're looking at the fact that Spain probably has two of the most, or rather three of the most important key players who are not currently playing today. So that might destabilize the team a little bit. So instead of me going for a straight win, I'm not going to go for a straight win. I'm going to look at the total average, right, that this team specifically has, where it comes to scoring over 2.5 goals. What's the likelihood that the team is going to score over 2.5 goals or 1.5 goals? You can see the information is there. Okay, it's there. Both teams to score. What's the likelihood of both teams scoring? 6 out of 7 times it's happened, right? First to score 10 out of 10 times. It means that we're expecting Spain to score, right? So all of these things are basically in reference to the markets that you have, so that whenever you decide to make a choice here, you have got multiple options. You can choose to place a bet on corners. You can choose to place a bet on what team is going to win first, what team is going to score first. You can choose to place a bet or on both teams to score, yes or no. You can choose on over 2.5 goals or over 1.5 goals. The information is there. Okay, now here's also one thing you need to know and understand. Just because you have all this information and your analysis is accurate and it's on point, then you think that you're just going to go ahead and be a person who wins every match. You will be sadly mistaken, because that is not exactly how everything always goes. Okay, this takes some certain element of luck as well. Okay, because like I said before, you cannot fully predict the future. That's like you waking up tomorrow and thinking to yourself, oh yeah, no, but tomorrow I'll definitely be going to the shop to get myself a slice of bread or whatever the case may be. And then tomorrow never comes. You understand? Who's to say that you're even going to wake up? Right? So that's like football. Same thing with football. Just because you are predicting or analyzing and assessing and assuming that this team is going to win, it's not always going to be the case, but at least you have a high probability outcome weighing in your favor, as opposed to you just randomly picking whatever market that you are picking, making random selections, not even understanding fully what you're doing, and then taking a loss. It's rather to lose when you've actually done your analysis than to lose when you did not do your analysis, because you fully don't even understand what's going on here. So this is SofaScore. You want to go ahead and get it. You can browse it straight from your browser, your computer, or your phone, or you can get yourself the app. It's available on Play Store. I'm not sure about iPhone App Store. I do know about Android though, but you can go ahead and get yourself SofaScore, the application. Now let's get straight into it. Remember, both teams to score. You have all of these types of markets, double chance, and all of these things. It is very crucial that you stop looking at the obvious things. Okay, it is essential that you stop looking at the obvious things and start focusing on the things that you are not seeing. Okay, like for example, we already know and understand and expect that Spain is going to win. That's obvious, right? But then the question that you need to ask yourself is, what is it that you are not seeing? Okay, that's the question. You need to ask yourself, what is it that you are not seeing? What am I not seeing? Start doing a deep dive into, everyone is expecting Spain to win, but what is the likelihood that Spain might actually lose or end up in a draw? That's when you start going into understanding who is playing, like what's the lineup looking like, who is injured, who is not there, and then that also is going to alter the outcome of the game. Potentially it might actually alter the outcome of the game, which then brings us to the point of looking for the things that are not obvious. Okay, so instead of you going for a straight win at this point, like everyone is going for a straight win, rather choose to make a safer bet and say, okay, instead of me going for a straight win, what's the likelihood of these teams scoring? You go to your streaks or on the software score application, and then you check how many times have these teams scored against each other. You understand? If it's 6 out of 7 times, then that's a high probability right there. You can go ahead and then choose your 6 out of 7 times. Sorry, your both teams to score, because you saw the 6 out of 7 times, right? That's just probability to say that it is highly likely that it will happen. Okay, so then that's how you create your first slip, and you can choose whatever, man. You can choose whatever. I'm just basically making an example to show you guys how you go about doing your analysis before you start making predictions and taking bets or whatever the case may be. Okay, now moving right along, switching over to the bets that we have had over the past a couple of matches here. Let's go to settled bets. What's happening? Okay, so these are the past couple of bets that have been placed. Let me go ahead and do this. Okay, I need to stretch this whole thing out, guys. Just give me a moment. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I just want to stretch this whole thing out. Okay, so you guys can see a whole lot more detail here. So we have our multi-bet, which was 9 selections here, and we had, that's 1 2 3 4 5 6, so 6 of these selections were winning selections, the other 3 were losing selections, and this was all with proper analysis. Okay, proper analysis. Now, it's like I said, the outcome is not always going to favor excuse me, it's not always going to fall into your favor, or rather fall in your favor. Why? Because it's just being realistic. At the end of the day, you can't fully predict. It's either the team is going to play your way, or it's not going to play your way, or it's just going to go your way or not your way. It's literally that simple. And then with this 8 selections that I had here, I had 1 losing selection. Okay, that was Hartlepool. Hartlepool United. Oh my goodness, Hartlepool United did me dirty, I'm not gonna lie. But this is with all the analysis that I have done on these teams, guys. Okay, this is all the analysis that I have done on these teams. And then we also had the 7 odds. Wait, I'm not gonna, I should also consider, because some of these other selections I actually didn't do analysis on. Some of them were not even mine. So sometimes I get lost between what was mine and what was not mine. So I know these last 2 were mine, because I remember I also took a win sometime during the week, and some of these others were not mine, like this one over here. Usually the very high odds, they're not mine. Usually the very high odds are not mine. Like this one over here, this one was definitely not mine. This was 18 selections. It was a really solid number of selections. Oh yeah, I did make some modifications to that one. I'm not gonna lie, I did make some modifications to that one. Originally it was around 700 and something, but I ended up making some changes here and there, and then came to some of these selections not winning. Like from the 18 selections that were made, I took 1 2 3 4 losses, so 16 wins and 4 losses. And I actually did make some changes to the entire slip itself. Right, so it was a pretty close call. It was a really pretty close call. So here I would have won about 664 over a stake or bet of 250. Right, now I'm still betting small, guys. I'm still betting small because I'm still getting my feet wet with this whole thing. All right, I'm still getting my feet wet with this whole thing up until I'm at a point where I fully feel very confident that my analysis has topped, or rather peaked. All right, so I feel like I'm at the best I could potentially be at this point, based on the way that I understand my analysis and how to analyze. Right, and I've literally just shared with you guys how I go about my analysis. Right, so this one was a winning slip. I staked 5, and I walked away with 20. And yeah, that's pretty much just that. Some of these others are not mine. Some of these others are not mine. I think this one was mine. This was 12 selections. There was 1, 2, 3 selections that were losing. Right, so 12 selections by 3. That means 9 selections were winning and 3 selections were losing. So it's unfortunate, guys. It's unfortunate. Sometimes you're going to bet on the winning team or winning horse, and then your horse loses, right? And these are the teams. Juventus was supposed to overperform for us here. It didn't overperform. Strasbourg was also supposed to. Wait, I think this was AS Monaco. I think I was betting on AS Monaco to win this one. All right. But then I went with an under 4.5 cards. This was bookings under 4.5 cards. Wait, hold up, was it? No. This was goals, but I remember going for corners. I remember going for corners on this one. Where was the corner? Oh, right. I remember going for corners. It was on this match here, not this one over here. So I remember there was corners somewhere there. And then over 1.5 on Juventus, and they disappointed. Like, the weekend was probably the craziest. Some of the best teams that you were expecting to win didn't win. Like, for example, the Manchester City fixture that was playing last week. Like, it was very disappointing. It was super disappointing. Because you're expecting these wins. They top performing teams. If you look at the stats, you look at everything, including the table positions and all of that. And then these teams are literally supposed to win based on what we expect them, or rather expect out of them. But then they come and they disappoint you. So it's such things that you need to consider at the end of the day, guys. Not everything is going to work out. Like, there was also the slip over here, which was 10 selections. We had 1, 2 losses over this one. So 8 out of 10. So you can see that the prediction is really high, right? If you look at the selections that I'm making, really good selections, because if you look at how many selections are winning versus how many selections are losing, it's a very huge gap. Very huge gap. You see me peaking somewhere around the 80% mark, close to the 90s. You understand? So it's those things. But one thing I will want to say to you guys is this: whenever you're making selections, it is always advisable that you stick to very low selections, because then you've got a high probability of winning that slip specifically, right? But if you are going to go with a huge number of selections, then your probability decreases. The more selections you add to your slip, the less the probability of you winning that entire slip, because whenever you're doing a multi-bet, it's an all or nothing type of setting, right? It's either you win all the matches or you don't win anything at all, and that's just pretty much how the stake goes. So this was all for today's video. I hope you guys found some value from this. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you do continue to support. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys on the next video. Thank you, and signing out.